Hi guys, I'm Kenya and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk about the fact that young adults, like, people in their early 20s, up to about 29, are expected to be financially stable, and I feel like that is unrealistic. So I was having a conversation with the super in my building, and everybody's journey is different. Everybody moves at their own pace, if you know what I mean. And when I became a real estate agent, this is when I realized, like, problems we have with the economy, housing, discrimination, racism. Like, it just opened my eyes up to a whole lot of things that I never really thought about before becoming a real estate agent. So when I speak on these issues, I just speak from experience and what I have seen and a lot of my own life experience as well. So I noticed that people who aren't financially stable or, low middle class have this, like, mentality per se. Now, my first apartment, I lived in Queens, New York on Grand Central Parkway. And if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have got that apartment. Why? Because I was only, 19 years old. I did not have credit established. And renting an apartment in 1970 or 1980, even 1990, is totally different from renting an apartment today in 2018. So when we talk about, young adults being financially responsible and financially stable and living on their own, we have to realize that we are in 2018 and times are different. Don't think when in 1960, well, I did this. We're not in 1960, we're not in 1970, 80, or 90, okay? So now that we have that established, so the super was like, oh, I got my first apartment in 1988 when I was 17, and it was $400, and it was some basement apartment with a window, like one window. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, well, you made a conscious choice to live in, like, he basically made the choice to live in that apartment in the basement with one window and pay $400. I'm sure his parents weren't like, oh, you're 17, get out, And so, like I said in one of my other videos, I'm at the point in my life where sometimes I hear people just talking, and in my mind I'm thinking, like, what? But I don't even have time to, like, explain or try to reason with people. I just say, you know what, all right. And then I come on YouTube and then I tell y'all everything, okay? So this is why I feel like it's, unrealistic to think that young people in their early 20s should be so financially stable and should have their own places and to live on their own. Now, it's 2018, and when you go to apply for an apartment, guess what? That landlord is going to check your credit, your rental history, and your criminal history, right? When you're in your early 20s, say for instance you are just leaving high school and you decide, I don't want to go to college, I'm going to work or whatever. So you're 18, you're 19, you're working, maybe you live at home still, and you go to look for an apartment. They're going to be like, you don't even have a credit established. That's what the landlord is going to say, because I know this because this is what I do as someone who's been renting apartments for almost 3 years. So I'm like, you don't have credit. So the first thing I'm going to say is, do you have a cosigner, right? Now, first things first, the average 18-year-old that leaves high school, so the average 18-year-old, 19-year-old person is not going to secure a job that will pay well enough to secure an apartment, first of all. And if they do make money, they're either going to have roommates or they're going to be in for a struggle. Now, I live in northern New Jersey. I'm not sure where you guys live in your parts of the country. And even at the property I work at, we're going to say one bedrooms are about $2,000. Now, I know when I was 18, when I was 19, I had my little job as a lifeguard, but I was not making enough money to pay $2,000 a month for an apartment, if you know what I'm saying. So if an 18, someone in their early 20s comes in and they don't have credit established, because how could you establish credit, if you're only 18, 19, 20 years old? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have credit. I'm going to say, can you get a cosigner? And then they're going to say yes or no. And now you have to make at least 3 times your rent. So if your rent is about $2,000, you're going to need to make $6,000 a month. The average young, late teen, early 20s aren't making, enough to afford that. They're not making that. I mean, some are, but the average is not. And now your cosigner has to make 4 times the rent and have superb credit. So this is what I'm saying. because we were having this conversation. It's like the super at my job was saying how his friend was living at home with his mom while attending medical school.
Oh my gosh, like,
He's saying,
I mean, what do you bring girls to sleep?
I'm thinking like, that man is in medical school. Do you think he's really thinking about that? Because I'm going to just tell you an old saying that I heard of. You'll never lose chasing money, but you will damn sure lose money chasing women. So if your man is in medical school handling his handle, like, and he's like 24, 25, like, that's okay. Like, what is this whole, you know, pressure on people to just be living on their own? Like, I just don't understand. And it's like, people are shamed for being in their 20s and living at home. They're shamed. It's like, oh, you don't have it together. But a lot of the times people are sent out here into the real world. They're ill-equipped and unprepared to be on their own. You know, and a lot of parents don't teach their children financial responsibility. They don't teach them about credit. I was never taught about credit, about budgeting. You know, my father was the sort of person who, he got money and he just spent it right away. It wasn't no saving, no rhyme or reason. And then he would be robbing Peter to pay Paul to try to get his bills intact. So, you know, if you're a child and you live in a household like that I lived in, where people are just, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, how am I learning financial responsibility? However, I never had to struggle. I never wanted for anything. I never went hungry. My lights were never shut off. You know, I went to private school, all that great stuff. But I say all that to say that I saw a financial pattern. You know, my dad had a financial pattern that wasn't, you know, the best. So, you know, and that's another thing. Like, if you see like people in your home just scrambling and, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, like, that shapes, you know, how you feel about money, period. And you may never think that you will, you know, amass large amounts of money in your lifetime, or be able to make large amounts of money to live comfortable, because all your life you've seen the struggle, if you know what I'm saying. So today in the mail, this would spark this whole video, I got my son a credit card, but under my account. So it has his name on it, and this is what people do, you know, to help their children build credit. So I'm going to keep it, you know, on me in my drawer. It's never leaving the house. But when he wants to go shopping, like for school and stuff, I'm going to give him the card to pay for what he needs. But guess what? I'm going to pay that money right back, maybe like a week later, just so that every time I pay, it's building his credit up as well as my credit, if you get what I'm saying. So that's my goal. And the thing is, you know, a lot of the times, you know, the super was saying, you know, I did it, and I'm thinking like, he also has daughters, and in my brain I'm thinking like, so are you confident that your daughters will be prepared to be out on their own at 18 years old or 19 while they're in college? And, you know, if they don't have credit, are you in a position where you could co-sign because you make 4 times the rent and, you know, in salary, and your credit is A1? Like, this is the reality we have to, you know, think of when you are thinking of, you know, young people. And I see people being shamed because their parents co-signed for them. Like, my very first apartment, you know, my dad helped me get it. He gave me the checks, the down payments, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had that apartment. And luckily my dad was in a position to do that for me, but not a lot of parents are. And in my very, very first apartment that I got on my own without anybody, I didn't have credit or anything like that. I still didn't. But the landlord and his wife really liked my personality, so they decided to rent to me. They was like, oh, she's a young girl, she's nice, you know, and they liked me. So that's how I got that apartment. All based on personality, nothing more, nothing less. And my rent was $850. It was a very nice apartment, all hardwood floors, renovated bathroom, renovated kitchen, $850. Now that same apartment, let me try to get that apartment today, probably wouldn't get it. So I just feel like the expectations we have on young adults, you know, to be, you know, financially stable, have their own apartments and cars, and, you know, pay all these insurance and bills, it's unrealistic, honestly. And, you know, I have a son, and I don't mind, like, if he goes to college, if he doesn't want to stay on campus, commute back and forth, stay home, go to college. Because, and a lot of many older people who've never been to college, they don't know, like, that depending on your major, a lot of the times it's so hard to go to college and work full-time, you know. And he's like, kept saying, I did it. Just because you did it, that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, put it like that. So used to be, when I first got to college, I have a degree in health sciences. So I was doing like a lot of chemistry, biology, you know, math. Like, do you know how many hours I spent in a lab per day? Like on my lab days, I'll be in a lab for like a full 7-8 hours, you know, and like it's not easy. And then I did psychology with a minor in English, and I used to read, I lie to you not, one novel per week in all of my English classes. When I tell you, it's really hard to go to school and work full time. So if you're expecting people that have graduated high school to be going to work and going to school, like that's so unrealistic. Like, let those people flourish. Like, let them flourish. Let them get their education. I notice a lot with people in a higher tax bracket, because I do work in the luxury sector of real estate, and I rent a lot of luxury apartments. And I notice like that kids will come in and they'll look at the apartment, and then their parents will call, hey, they'll be like, hey, Cindy just came in, she saw 1 bedroom, she likes it, what do I have to do to co-sign? And then they'll send, I had someone send me their W-2s. They legit had a $450,000 per year W-2. And their son was like, their son and their friend was renting an apartment at my building, and they were attending medical school or whatever. And the father was just like, so like, he really wanted to help his son to get ahead, because like, how do you expect your child to go to medical school and work a full time to pay? Like, this is what I feel like a lot of parents, you know, drop the ball. Like, we need to be like, well, me personally, since, you know, I've learned about finances and credit, you know, on my own and through trial and error. I'm gonna make sure that my son is in the best position when he gets older. If you need to stay at home, you know, because once you get a job after college, you're not gonna most likely have a high paying job. It's gonna be entry level. And then don't forget, you gotta pay those student loans back, you know, and it could just be a lot for someone who 1 minute they never had bills, and next minute they got a lot of bills. So I would let my son, you know what? You got a job, you just graduated from college. If you want to stay home for like 3 years, 4 years, and you know, save up your money and get financially stable, you know, do that. Now, I'm not saying that if you are a parent or somebody that you should just be letting your child just linger around a house in their early, you know, as an adult, and you're not doing anything, you know, to get ahead in life. They aren't, you know, helping you. They're just sitting there using up all your electricity while you at work, you know what I'm saying? Or you going grocery shopping, they eating up all your food, and you like, hey. But what I'm saying is, if you have young adults in your household who are trying to get further in life and they want to do better with themselves, give them a chance to flourish. Like, help them. And even if they're like, you know, 24, 25, 26 and they're still living at home, I don't think nothing is wrong with that. Just tell them, like, listen, I don't care if you stay here, but buy your own food. Like, don't be eating up my food. Or, you know, you use this electricity too. Give me half of the electric bill. If you want to give them some responsibilities, like, you know, small responsibilities, you know, give it to them. There's nothing wrong with that. But this whole pressure and this culture that we live in, where it's like, as a young adult, you have to, oh, she don't got her own apartment, you still live at home. It's just like, why is that so bad? And this is why a lot of people, they get on their own, young people, they have too many things to juggle, you know, they scraping by, they're struggling. This is how you get evictions on your record. Just not because you don't want to pay, because you simply don't have the money. Next thing you know, this is how, like, your record, you know, your good record gets all blemished, because you're just thrown out here into the world, and, you know, you're not prepared to be out here in the world. You didn't get a chance to, you know, get yourself together, get in a position where you could go out here, get your own place, and be on your own. So that's just that. Like, we just place a lot of pressure. I feel like, not me per se, but I just hear stories, you know, of people, you know, opinions about young adults and, you know, what they should be doing, what they should have. And I'm just like, yo, like, realistically, like, that's not, I don't know, that's just my opinion. But then again, who am I? That's just my 2 cents on a situation, and, you know, just how I look at things and how I see, like, the young adults who come to live in my building, and how supportive their parents are, you know, with them, and how helpful they are with them. And I notice that parents who are able to help do that, they help. Parents who really aren't in a position to help, it seems like those are the ones, you know, that are, you know, shamed, you know, their young adult children for not really being on their own at a certain age. It's like when I was 22, I moved out. Yeah, that was in 1975, ma. Like, really though? It's a different time. And like I said on one of my other videos, although the prices of rents are increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing, wages are not going up that much. And like I said in another video, like back in the day, you could be like a school janitor, a man. Your wife could be a school secretary, and you were able to buy a house. Back in the day, my grandmother and my aunt bought a very nice house for $52,000, and they still, like, it's still in the family. All original wood, everything, fireplace, garage, patio, the whole shebang. $52,000. My aunt was like a teacher's aide, and I forget, my grandmother had a job that wasn't really paying that much. But during that time, I think it was like 1988, they were able to do it. Right now, you can't do it. Taxes, property taxes alone will just kill you. Not even the cost of the house, but just the property taxes in general. So when we think, you know, of young adults and where they should be in their journey, like, you got to think of all those things that, you know, come into play, you know, with that. I don't know. I think that's all I have to say on this subject. Oh yeah, and I recently saw on TV, I was at a nail shop, and you know, like little the news was on, and in San Francisco, people who are making $117,000 per year are considered low income. Let that sink in. Folks in San Francisco, California, who are making $117,000 a year are considered low income. So that tells you, like, you know, what state, you know, the rental, the housing economy is in right now. And people always like to say, well, if you can't afford to live somewhere nice, get a better job. Now, if it was that easy for people to just go out here and get a high-paying job, everybody would have a high-paying job. Do you not think that Susie working as a secretary that's making $25,000 a year don't want to make more money? Do we not think that? And when I go to Walmart, I'm gonna need somebody to be at the cashier to ring me up. When I go grocery shopping, I need somebody to be there to ring me up and to help me. Like, in reality, we need people that do have those low paying jobs, because without them, like, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of things. I'm just gonna say that. Like a week ago, something was going on with my washing machine. I had to wash clothes. I put my clothes in the bag, took them up the street, and let them wash it. And then they called me up when it was done, and I picked them up. I don't want to stand in the laundromat and wash clothes. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit, you know, bougie, but I don't want to do it, you know. So, went off on a little tangent there. But I guess you guys get my drift, and you get what I'm trying to say and where I'm coming from. So if you are here to the end of this video, I would like to thank you guys for coming to kick it with me today. And I will see you guys on my next YouTube video. Toodles!